In this part, I'll show you how can we construct a list from various things. At first, uh, you because we will work with the file, so I'll show you this line. This one is the package that you can download the file from shared drive in Google. This one is the data that I'll use. I provided in my Google Drive that is shared for everyone. So once you download it, you will have the file score.csv. The score.csv is the generated file that you can work with it. This one is the synthesized data, so no worry about that. Everything was random. Okay, before that, I have something to tell you first. For example, now if you have a list of x like this, the one that we worked before, and you keep y with x here, so you set y equal to x. Now it means that you have x and you have y, so everything are same, right? And if you change something of x, for example, x0 to be 10, not 1000 anymore. So let's check the result. X will be 10A, 2000C, to 4000A, and 5000. And then I check the values of y. And this is the result. Can you see? Y and x, when you change the values of x, y also changed. Because you can imagine that we have the actual list, the actual data in only one place, and x is the values that point to that place. And when you use this statement, it means that you use y to point to that data also. So x and y point to the same place of data. Actually, they have only one list, and you have both variables that point to that place. So if you change something in x, y will change also. Guys, different here. If I change x, if I said z is a list of x, I use this keyword, list of x. If you use list without the parameter, z will be an empty list. Okay, but if you put something inside the list, it will try to convert that things to the list. For example, if you put x and change it to list, it will be a list, of course, for sure. And then once you execute it, z will be the list here. And now I'll change it. I'll change x back to 1, x0, change it back to 1000. So guys, let's check the result. X will be 1000A, 2000C, the one that we changed, right? And y is same as x because x and y point to the same place, right? But z, this term, the z will be 10. Because now, once you use this statement, list of x, it will copy the values of x into a new list and store it with z. So z point to the other place, not in the same as x and y anymore. Okay, so this is the first statement that you can use to construct a list. Other than this, you can use the list comprehension, construct it from some function. Okay. Next, guys, now we will try to work with the file and try to make you understand how can we use Python to operate, try to process the text values. Okay, now I think you already know how can we read the file, right? So I will open the file. Now I open this file called CSV, and then we use for line in file print line, and it will print a line and of course a new line after this. So let's check the result first, and then we will modify it later. After that, I will use file.close to close this file. Look at this. So this one will be the values of the content in the file. But actually in this file, for each file, for each line in the file, it has the new line characters. So when you print it, it will print the new line character in the line. And this one is new line character from the print, because the print statement, the print statement, it will be like, it will give you a new line character as a default. So if you want to show it like nicely, we can make it use this parameter to force everything to be like, after you print it, just do nothing, not add the new line, because the normal print one will, after you print the values in the as the values of the parameter, it will add a new line characters, right? So I force it to be print nothing. So guys, this one is the values of the content of the file. Okay, so you can do something else, like I can show you that we can use this function. This is very important, and I think it's very useful for us to work with the file. Guys, we can use this line. File is open, score.csv, and lines is file.readlines, and file.close. This one will read all lines in this file and store it in the list named lines. This one. Read all lines and store it as a list of lines. So guys, let's check the result of lines. So can you see? This is the content of each line. This is the one that I told you before, that for in each line, there will be a new line characters. That is in the original file, because in the text file, we have to add one line and new line character and another line, right? And the read or for line in file will read all characters, so it will contains the new line characters. Okay, so you have the data like this. In this one is the list of line. Guys, let's take a look. A moment, I will scroll up and you can see, because there are 1000 of this, but we have one headers also. So guys, can you see this one is a list? It starts with the square bracket, right? And then everything is here. So at first, I'll ask you to, this one, remove the output first. I've asked you to remove all new lines character from each line. Can you do that? It's quite easy, right? Look at this. We will use the list comprehension to do this. For line in lines. For each line in lines, I will put line in the list, but I don't put it the raw data, but I use the function strip that try to strip all white space, leading and trailing white space from the lines. So guys, look at this. After you execute this, can you see? This one is already, right? The new line characters, now it was removed from each line. Wow. So we have new thing that you can construct the list. If you have a string like S is, this is a cat. If you have S like this, when you use the word split without the parameter, it will use the space, the white space, to split everything. And once you use s.split, you will get a list of string that is like tokens, many tokens. So it will split by the space. So guys, if I use the word lines, if I store this one back into the lines. So guys, lines is an array, right, of string. If I use line 0, it will be the uh, first element. So I line 0 is the header, like, right? So if I want to see like the first 10 lines, I can use this statement, right? I don't provide the first index, but I provide the end index. So this one will get just only 0 to 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, not 10, right? So that will be 10 lines here. So guys, if I use just only the first line and I use the word split, but this time I split using the comma, it will be this one, the name of each column, right? Student ID Q1, Q2, Q3, Q4, Q5. Okay, so this is another way that we can create a list of string that like use the split one. So guys, here I'll process this file. So once you have the line like this, once you have the lines like this, can you see? You have an ID, right? You have an ID here, right? Okay, you have ID here as the first element in the list. So guys, if I want to create a list of ID, how can we do that? Can you do it? Can you do it? You can pause the video and think about this. We can create a list of ID just using only one line, using the list comprehension. So look at this. You can pause the video, think by yourself, and then come back here, see the solution. We start with the list comprehension. We can do it step by step, 4 line in lines. Okay, and then I will use line dot split using the comma to split the lines using the comma. So guys, can you see this is the result? So we can see that the result is like you have a list of lists now, right? You have a list of lists. Okay, so you have a list of lists here, right? Okay, I'll scroll up. Okay, a moment. Okay, this one is the first one, right? This is the first one. Okay, so if you split it, you can see that it is a list, right? So this is the first element, second one, third one, fourth, fifth, and sixth. So I'll get it, and because this is a list, so you can get the first element of this list. So it will be this one. Can you see? This one is the list of the IDs. This is the list of the ID. Okay. A moment. Okay, this one is the list of the ID, but you have the first line, that is the header, right? So how can you remove the first element from the list? It's very easy, right? Because we can use the list slicing that start from 1 to the end. So now let's check the result here. Let's check the result here. Guys, look at this. Now we don't have the first line anymore because we cut it here. So you have a list of IDs already. So like we try to increment or modify this statement, and now we can store it into a list of ID. So I'll keep it here, IDs and S. So now you will have a list of ID, right? Okay, so I hope that you can get the idea how can we work with this, right? Okay. I think this clip is too long, so I'd like to cut it here and we'll come back with another example that is continue from this one.